That's bad. What's up, YouTube? How are you guys doing on this fine Sunday afternoon? My light's pretty bad in here. Oh my goodness. All right, I'm screwed it up. All right, guys. So as promised, I am back this weekend to go over homeschool picks for 8th grade. And I'm sorry if I'm a little lackluster. I am a little bit under the weather. I'm still fighting it with my oil of oregano and my elderberry and vitamin C, but my throat's still a bit scratchy. So this is not going to be a long video, seriously. All right, so for 8th grade, my son, we'll start with math, as I always do. My son is taking Mr. D's math. Now, just so you know, I did a long form homeschool curriculum pick video with all the grade levels that I'm teaching. So if you want to get more information, you can check that video out. But this one is fun. So he's taking Algebra 2 with Mr. D. I think this is his third or no, this is his 4th class with Mr. D. Love Mr. D. It's an online class. And for those of you who have students who are NCAA athletes, Mr. D is great because they send a transcript. They have very great ties with other educational institutions. So your grades will be counted. It's accredited, all of that good stuff. So my son this is an actual high school class for high school credit. So we've liked it. It's been very easy to deal with getting transcripts and being able to stay on top of his work. So that's been great. Now, I am going to do a video on Mr. D coming up. But one thing I do not like about Mr. D are the worksheets that you have to print out. They're just bleh. And they're not as challenging for my son. So I went to my favorite site, teacherspayteachers.com, and there was a seller. Her name is Gina, and her store is all things algebra, although she covers more than just algebra. And this is, I love this. She kind of reminds me of Annie Moffat from the Moffat Girls in terms of just being very thorough in the layout of her worksheets. So I like that. So that's his supplement. I think it's a bit more challenging than Mr. D's. And to show you what Mr. D's stuff looks like, I'm trying to compare the same kind of work, but all right, well, it looks plain. So so that's for math. Now the supplements, and I know I said I'm only talking about the spines, the main text that we're using in the class, but one thing that my son is doing on his own is for, excuse me, Life of Fred has a high school edition. I think there are 4 books in that series, and this is one of them. This is Advanced Algebra, and it's pretty thick. And this one is the expanded form because it has all the like work problems and stuff included. But as you know, for those of you who aren't familiar with Life of Fred, you know, it's the story. It's story based, and Life of Fred just takes you along the life of a little 4-inch, I think the character is 4 inches tall, and it shows how math concepts are directly related to real life. So that's what I like about that, because as kids get further into math, they're always asking, I'm never going to use this in real life. And Fred can show you how you are actually using that. So that's math. Writing. Oh my goodness, I did this the last time. I forgot to bring the writing up. Well, check out the last video. It's writing and rhetoric. I'm sorry, guys. Writing and rhetoric. We are actually going to skip. We started the Creya, which is book 4. We're going to skip that and go to book 5, and I'm going to talk about that in another video. I'm going to have a slew of videos all this week coming up. I'm going to get all this curriculum stuff kind of out the way, but just know it's writing and rhetoric. And if you check out, and I'll put a link here after the live. Hold on, y'all. I'll put a link linking you to the other homeschool curriculum video where I go more into depth with that. So I'm sorry about that, but just know Writing and Rhetoric by Classical Academic Press. And it's book 5, which I think is Reformation. Okay, let's see. Science. So I was going to have my oldest one do building blocks of science with my younger two, because I'm all about combining social sciences and science with a block schedule, combining those age groups. But he needs just a little bit more, and I'm really trying to prepare him for wet labs and for high school, and more specifically science labs at the community college level. So I just want to go a step further, and he wasn't able to get into this online chemistry class that includes a wet lab. So I bought this. I love this. A lot of you know she's very popular in the homeschool community. Ellen McHenry, The Elements, Ingredients of the Universe. This is the teacher text, I believe, and this is the student text. And this is kind of like, it's very conversational. You see it's got pictures. It's not, there's no color involved, but the way, the tone of the writing is so casual and at ease. It takes all the fear out of all the parts of chemistry that, you know, scare students, especially, you know, you start getting into chemical bonds and things like that. So we're going to start this. We haven't started it yet because I've had 50 million people in my house while we've been remodeling, finishing up some remodeling. And actually next week will be the first week where I have nobody in my house and I can actually get things done. I feel like we're really starting homeschool next week. Okay. Hey, Erin, I watched the replay of your last live for your 6th grader, and it was awesome. I wish I caught it live. I know I keep forgetting to, I'm going to figure out how to stream on Instagram and YouTube, because you can do it. I just got to put a little more effort into reading up on all that tech stuff. I had so much to say. I didn't want to flood your comments. Girl, you can never overflood my comments. But yeah, so always feel free to be Erin. Okay, so that's science. And then, let's see, reading. All right, so reading is going to be a little bit different. Oh, I'm sorry. So, and also, this is part of, I don't know if this is part of his high school series or middle school. I know it's high school. Life of Fred Chemistry. We haven't busted this bad boy out, but we will once we start chemistry for real. But there's also the chemistry version. So we have a lot of Life of Fred stuff. And that, guys, I have my son read it. Sometimes I'll read it with him. And then we just talk about the questions at the end of the chapter. And we just keep it easy and keep it moving, okay? It's all about just showing them the real world connections, especially with math and chemistry. What did I say next? Reading. So, okay. We are doing the warrior mindset. And so we're starting off with Robert Greene's, the classic, The 48 Laws of Power. And this is my spine. And The Prince, Niccolo Machiavelli. And this is the Dover Thrift edition. And this is actually my my personal copy, Sun Tzu, The Art of War. If you looked at my last video on my last homeschool curriculum pics of all the grades, I have a beautiful red copy. It's gorgeous. It's somewhere in my son's room. That's the thing when you homeschool all around the house. And if you're lazy like me and you don't always put stuff back, then you have to start hunting for it. So I grabbed my copy. But this I really like because it really ties into the ancient period and ancient warriors and ancient philosophies. And it specifically says it too. It talks about the Huns and all kinds of stuff. So as we dive into history, you know, we're covering the ancient period. So we're kind of going a little bit fast with China, the Indus Valley, Mesopotamia, the Incans, the Mayans, the Aztecs. And we're using this as our spine for those civilizations, DK, eyewitness books. But this, I'm not pushing it that much for him because last year he did Eastern Hemisphere through Bookshark, and he got a really great introduction to a lot of the countries in that part of the hemisphere. And they start with the ancient period. So at least for China and Japan. So he's already, you know, been exposed to this, but he'll just kind of humor his, you know, his brothers and give his little comments about things. But for reading, we are really just taking passages from this and then watching YouTube videos and then having discussions. And oh shoot, I should give you a link. I'll do it probably this week of the YouTube videos that tie in with this. So we're having a lot of great discussions, a lot of Socratic, you know, type of discussions. And I really like it. I'm really bonding with him a lot more. He's just a sponge now. And so, you know, these kinds of books are never too, they're not, people think you have to be much older to appreciate these books and get through it. But if you go very slowly and you bring in other resources, especially multimedia resources, you can plow through it. I think it's very engaging and it's very applicable to today. So my point, my theme, not my theme, but my goal is to show my children everything that we're doing in our house has a meaning and a connection and a purpose. Mom's not just picking up something. So this shows exactly how it applies. Like we were just talking about, you know, what happened with the Breonna Taylor case. And I'm sorry, not the Breonna Taylor, the case. There's a lady in Atlanta and she bought like 96 acres. I think it's called the Black Initiative, or I forget what it's called. And so I think about 15 families bought land in Georgia. And just because they want to have a safe haven, a sanctuary. So they don't have to worry about their kids being, you know, tracked down and shot down like dogs by police or whomever. So anyway, we talked about when she announced that, we talked about what method did she use in here? And was she right to use that method for how she announced that? And what she did is exactly in the art of war. And the art of war did not approve. Okay, that's another story. All right, so that's reading. So, oh, and then we're doing Shakespeare. That's why we're moving very slowly with reading. So this, we should be finished, God willing, in maybe 2 weeks. And then I'm going to let the kids pick the next Shakespeare story. And then we'll just move on from there. And if you check out my 6th grade video from Friday, I went into length about this. As a matter of fact, I think I made another video about the woman, Stacy Lloyd, who created these resources. They're amazing. They're wonderful. You should check that out. And we are reading those stories in this book. So I'm finding this semester, we're doing a lot of talking, a lot of reading. It's kind of what we did when we first started homeschooling. And my children love that. Bringing in snacks. We're outside on the patio when there's no smoke outside, or we're lying down on the carpet. We're just reading and talking. and I love it. I love it. Okay, I love McHenry's series. We have her brain anatomy, botany, and we did her virology course. She has a course. Now, back when I used to go on her website, it was kind of like really like mom and popish but I think she did have a course back then, but I'm going to have to check that out. Is that an online course, Erin? And I have the book Socratic Circles. I haven't gotten to yet. Have you ever read it? No, excuse me. But I haven't read Socratic Circles, but I'm going to put that on my book list. Let's see. I do not think she should have drawn attention to them. Exactly. Do you hear they offered them a reality show? Yes. So, and that's what my son and I were talking about in the art of war, overplaying your hand or showing your intent beforehand, before you have all of your things in order. So it was like one of their more classic art of wars, one of their classic no-nos. Don't do that. And that's exactly what she did. So I was glad my son saw that. So, you know, and that's true with anything in life. Like say you and your bestie and you and a couple of friends and you're all going to law school. And then you decide, you know, I kind of want to go into real estate. I'm not really feeling law school. And then you decide, you know, I'm going to join Keller Williams or some other top real estate agency and, you know, take the test and go on about your life. you tell your girlfriends and they try to talk you out of it. They say, oh, that's a silly idea. You're not going to make any money, you know. And then you get all, you know, you start questioning yourself and you start having doubts. And then if you do decide to go into, you know, like real estate, you might not be as gung-ho about it. And then it's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy. And then you just do bad. And then you're like, oh, maybe I should go to law school. So that, you know, it's like, you got to keep your dreams, your aspirations, you know, what you really, really want to yourself until you reach the point of confidence where no matter what they say, you're like, deuces, whatever, you're fine and you're good with that. Okay. Her courses are video on demand series. Yes. Okay. Yeah, I do remember that. Okay. Now we have logic. So we have the Art of Argument, which does come with a CD, which I have, but I don't know where it is, and I'll probably not use it. My goodness. Guys, let me put a cough drop in. I didn't start coughing until I got online. I don't know. Maybe YouTube is sending me smoke dust through my computer. Now, let me know if this is distracting, but I think coughing into the microphone is more distracting. All right. So we got, ooh, I might be smacking. Let me know if I start smacking, just tell me. So this is an introduction into informal fallacies. Now, I got to say, it's not, it could be teacher intensive, y'all. You're going to have to really take your time with this. And you're definitely probably going to spend more than a school year. Hold on. That was strong. More than a school year going through this if you want to be thorough with it. So with my thinking, because you know, my son, he's getting ready for college work and stuff like that. And oh, where's the rest of it? So I have other fallacy books, and hold on. And I found this. Sorry, guys. Okay. Okay. So I have a number. I don't know where they are. Oh, here they are. Oh, right behind me. So I have this. Now, if you know from my 6th grade video, I have mastering logical fallacies, and it's funny. I really like that book. This one takes it a step further, and it gives you different examples, explanations. It gives you tips. It gives you kind of like rebuttals. It's almost like a script. So if you wanted to learn this and then go out and, you know, say like during this, we have a presidential debate coming up, and you want to talk to your friends after you watch the debate. Well, you can look through here at the different fallacies and then kind of construct in your mind the script, not word for word, but kind of like the storyline of how you attack or defend what that person's saying. So I like that. And then I have this, Noam Chomsky, Media Control. And because we're really getting into propaganda, and not just propaganda, but why? Why is there propaganda? And so a lot of propaganda is steeped in fallacies. So, so that ties in together. Okay, let me see. Let's see. I'm getting ready to roll out. Okay, I'm getting ready to roll out Art of Argument again. Okay, so when you roll this bad boy out, let me know. Put it on Instagram how you are going to use this, because I was like, you know what, this is gonna take some time, and we're kind of loaded up for this semester because we've had a lot of construction going on in the house. So I'm like, this is gonna get us right through what we need to do, and you know, it's going to get done. And it's, you know, I'm not going to feel like we're lacking. I think this is a really great spine. So when you pull that out, you let me know how that goes. Are you hoping to get the deductive book for the spring semester? You know what? The Critical Thinking Company has, I think either they just did it or I saw it somewhere. They have a deductive reasoning book. But I found this on the Life of Fred. No, not the Life of Fred. Because Life of Fred, they were bought out by another company. But the original company, I went to their website. You can still get it though, and they have logic, they have money. No, it's called finances. It's for older kids. Now this logic, it really focuses on math. So if your child is interested in math competitions or going into a STEM field, this will be perfect for them. But they do have one chapter on fallacies. It's just one chapter, and it's chapter 5 right here. But they do cover quite a bit. So I haven't read it yet. Neither has my son, because we got so much to be reading anyway. But there you go. So we're going to, and it's just one chapter, so it's less than 10 pages. So I'll just have him read that, and then maybe over the holidays, I'll bust this out and see if he wants to get into that. All right, what else have we got? Let's see. You know that CAP has a suggested schedule for Art of Argument. It breaks it down by how many days a week you want to do it. I'll email it to you. Oh, thank you, Erin, because on the Well-Trained Mind forum, they have lots of suggested schedules. And some of them have a 1-year schedule, some have a 2-year schedule. So whatever you have, please send that to me. I would gladly look at it. Okay, so for history, we're doing ancient civilization, as I said before. And so I was going to start with Africa, but my kids, you know, they're really into war and battles and campaigns and things like that. So we started talking about Sun Tzu, and then they were like, let's watch some videos on it. So we kind of got into ancient China, and that's where we've been. So we're going to spend 2 weeks on ancient China, dip into India, Indus Kush, the Aztec, the ancient Mayans. I don't have anything on Japan though. If you guys have any great resources on ancient Japan, let me know, because that civilization goes back really, really far, and I haven't seen really any notable resources on that. I don't think DK Witness has ancient China, and I don't know what they consider an ancient civilization, but China definitely goes back thousands of years. So anyway, so I showed you, I think, the China one. I have the DKs for all the other civilizations that I told you about. And then we're going to end with probably late November with the Nile Valley Civilization by Anthony Browder. This is just a study guide. Where's the book? I have 2. I have Classical Africa by Dr. Malefi Sante. I'll grab that in a second. But anyway, this is the study guide for the textbook. Now, there's no writing in this. It's just all activities you can do. It is a lot of writing. So this could supplement your writing curriculum in terms of just having something to write about. There is a lot of vocabulary in here, a lot of vocabulary words, but this will be a little bit more involved. I'll probably have my oldest one do the most of the work in here, while I'll just read to my younger ones, because I don't think they'll be ready for all the types of writing prompts that are in here, or journal prompts. I'm waiting on my study guide. Let's see. Your study guide for Nile Valley. Is that what you're waiting for, Ma'at? The only thing I have on Japan is like a high school level mythology book for Japan. My home library is a bit sick of that. You know what? When we were doing Bookshark, and I was just seeing like just the timeline of Japan, and I was like, nobody ever puts them into the conversation. And they have such a long story history. So I'm like, what am I missing out? Let me go try to dig some resources up. But a mama is tired. So, you know, when I think about it, I'll try to do a couple little searches to see what comes up, because I don't want to give it short shrift. All right. And then for ancient Egypt, you know, you have to watch out, you know, the kind of images that you're exposing your children to. Because quiet as it's kept, a lot of artifacts and images you see in museums are not the original ones. They're not. They're rebuilt and they're doctored. So you have to watch out where you're getting your images from. So like the Temple of Dendra, it was rebuilt, I think, at least 2 times in the modern age, right? So things were covered over, like the flower of life is in the Temple of Dendra. So, you know, you just have to be mindful of that. But this one, for me, had very credible images and very beautiful images and very easy to read descriptions. It's not all wordy. You know, I find that with some of these kind of like coffee table books, you either get really great pictures or you get a whole bunch of dense text and a little bit of pictures. This one, I thought, split the middle and was great on pictures and great on the amount of text that's included, so it doesn't scare away my younger ones. And then for ancients, now we're going from, you got ancients, the classical age, and then you kind of get into the early Middle Ages and then the Middle Ages. So we're getting into like, you know, the Middle Ages, the medieval period. So of course we're going to hit Mansa Musa. And I have about 4 or 5 of these books. This one is a story. It's very easy to read. It's a story, tells the story. So it's not like a dense history book. You see all those pictures? Not a dense history book. So this is Mansa Musa and the Empire of Mali, a true story of gold and greatness in Africa. And that's by James Oliver right here. This is a great read aloud. And then this one is a little bit more, it's not a really great read aloud, but the Royal Kingdoms of Ghana, Mali, and Songhai, Life in Medieval Africa. So when we start around November with ancient Africa, we'll be hitting Kemet, Kublai, Egypt, whatever you want to call it, and then we'll be going into these ancient kingdoms. And let's see what else I got, guys. Coughing up a storm, and my throat is dry. Oh, did I show you for chemistry? Oh, for science, did I talk about science? Oh yeah, I showed you the Ellen McHenry. And okay, so look. Oh Lord, these kids of mine. Okay, my son, he's been welding for about 3 weeks. You can't tell him nothing. If you go to my Instagram, you'll see some pictures I put up. So he really wants to be hands-on, and I love it. So he's like, Mom, you know, I really don't want to do chemistry with my brothers. I want to do something, you know, basically he wants to blow up stuff. You know, he wants to, you know, do something. So I pulled these out. I have about 4 or 5 of these. The illustrated guide to home chemistry experiments. Now, this is not for the faint of heart. We're really going step by step. Right now, we're building our lab right now. That's why I haven't shown you, done a homeschool tour. But we're going slowly with this. This is really going to kind of like be our spine. And then I know a lot of you know about Theodore Gray. And so these are just great picture books. I mean, they have information in them. But when you start getting into chemistry, you know, you got the periodic tables. And I like how they just show you how the everyday things, how they relate to the periodic table. And this author, I think he's been a New York Times bestseller. This is Molecules. I know I'm country. Molecules. And so it talks about all the different molecules and where they come from and where they are in real life and how it's the architect of everything. It's the atom, right? And then we have reactions, chemical reactions, which is what my son was interested in. So if I don't stop coughing on y'all. So these are great books just to be inspired, right? And to get some ideas. And then going through my vault of stuff, you can never go wrong with DK eyewitness books. So you have chemistry. So this is like a little reference. To me, it's like a little dictionary. Not really a dictionary, but just, you know, it's a nice little kickoff to what you're studying. And then this little baby, the cartoon guide to chemistry. They have it in physics, genetics, and some other stuff. But look at this. It kind of reminds me of the old Marilyn Burns books from the 70s and also Ellen McHenry. And it's very conversational. It's fun. Actually, I think I might switch it over to this. Because really at this point, they want to just kind of get the information, see how like it's real. It's not fantasy stuff. We can actually do this. And then they want to go do it. So I kind of want to get out of their way and let film experiment. I have the McKissick book. I love all her books. Yes. I need to I don't know. I'm thinking so many more books I want to get, and I don't know. I got so many, and at this point, I feel like I need to have more kids to justify buying more books. All right. Do you have a flip through for the chemistry lab book? For which one? Hold on. The chemistry lab book. For the McHenry, the lab book. Do these not have lab books? What did I just show you? This one. Are you talking about this lab book? This is all lab, no lecture. Oh, do you want to see a flip through to this one? Okay. Hey, you know what? Let me just take off my hold on. I could take this off. No, I was gonna try to take off my webcam, but I might knock down my mic. All right. So at the first 20 pages, they tell you how to stock. Let me go there. They show you how to how to stock a lab, how to set it up. And then they give you so much information on how to get that going. No nonsense. But then when we get to the lab, let me show you what the labs look like. All right, so let's go to, okay, acid-base chemistry laboratory. So there we go here. All right, and then, I think I skipped the page. So it's some reading, and it kind of jumps. I mean, in some of these labs, you do need to have a background in chemistry, because, you know, some of those, you're dealing with a lot of chemicals, and you got to be, you can't just be, oh, I want to do chemistry today. You've never, like, you know, you're not really been exposed to it. So determine the pH of aqueous salt solutions. So you see that? So these are like real deal experiments. They're not your typical little baby experiments. So that's what that looks like. No color or anything, but this is a no nonsense book. They have, I mean, they'll put those, okay, look. And then this is where, now it says no lecture or anything, but you have your review questions, places where you can like jot down your observations and things like that. And, okay. So, there you go. So if you have a chemistry buff, a lover, or just a kid who's very curious and wants to try things, you're going to get very detailed information. So just think of your basic elementary, middle school chemistry books. You know, you're just like pH level strips, testing acid, bases, things like this. This is going to give you, take this to a whole another level. And before you get started in this, I would recommend that you have a solid grounding in the periodic table. My son took a periodic table class from onlineg3.com. It was a wonderful class. I think it was just a semester long, but they did everything periodic table. I bought flashcards, playing cards, games, a puzzle. I got manipulative tiles. Oh, I should do a video on periodic table manipulatives, because there are manipulatives for middle school kids and high school kids. You just got to find them. So it would be good if they had a good grounding in that. If they don't, you know, they'll be playing a lot of catch up. But when they start seeing, you know, when they see something like this, they might, oh, I can't find it. Woo, I'm starting to feel a little dehydrated. You know, oh shoot, hold on, I'm getting makeup all inside the book. Oh, who cares? This book don't get messy anyway. So that's chemistry. And this is by DIY Science. They have this for biology, for physics, for forestry science, I believe, and a couple of other ones. All right, Spanish. My son took a high school Spanish class for credit this past summer. So he's doing this really on his own with Duolingo, and he has a tutor. So, and by tutor, I mean, we just started with Homeschool Spanish Academy. Y'all know from my overall homeschool curriculum video, I was like desperate for some Spanish materials. I have a lot. I just didn't like the workbooks that I have. So I had this. And so my son, you know, he's fine with this, but he really needs to be able to be conversational. So I heard a lot of good things about Homeschool Spanish Academy. They almost always have some kind of deal or coupon on homeschool buyers co-op. But I think that's going to be the way to go for us for Spanish until I can get him into the community college, because I actually had him enrolled, but with COVID, everyone switched over to online learning. And so when your child is in middle school taking college classes, you're already the last priority for registration. And so now with more kids, almost all the kids going online now, there were like no classes for him. And the two that were available for him throughout California, California has this really wonderful system. I think it's unique to just California. They have a system that aggregates, or it cobbles every single community college in the state of California. And when you're looking for a class, it will look for all of those community colleges in the state. And then it shows you how the class transfers, especially if you wanted to transfer it to like the university, the UC systems, what we call it in California. But anyway, we couldn't get anything. And the two that were available, I went on to Rate My Professor, which is like the Yelp of of teachers, of college professors, and they were horrible. They weren't even like C's. They were like F's and D's. Basically, people were like, don't do it. It was just pictures of people saying, don't do it. No, I'm kidding. So I'm like, oh, man. So, and I wanted to get that out the way, because one semester of college Spanish is the equivalent of a year of Spanish. So if you do a year of college, of community college Spanish, you're done with your high school Spanish requirement. So that deal fell through. So we have this Homeschool Spanish Academy, and that's how we're rocking. Okay, yeah, that's the Spanish one I have. Okay, but I'm doing some prep before I start. Okay, yeah, because it does move pretty fast, but my son did a whole year of Spanish over the summertime, and it was a really fast pace. So I wanted to kind of keep that momentum going. And his class met, 4 times a week for an hour and a half. So it was no joke. It was a lot. So he's doing that with Homeschool Spanish Academy. And I think that's it, guys. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I pulled this out for him since we're doing Shakespeare. I'm not going to do grammar with him. I got the well-ordered language for him, but I gave him a placement test for all about spelling. Y'all know from the previous 2 videos, I was talking about all about spelling. And he placed it like level 4. He probably could have done, probably placed out of it, but I just started him with like level 2 just to see. And then we worked our way up. So at 4, I'm like, so you know this. He did grammar through Michael Clay Thompson's, Caesar's English, well, that's vocabulary, but he did all of that. So I feel, he's pretty solid. Just some little things just to kind of clear up. We can do that over the summertime. So although it has grammar in here, I'm like, good, because we're going to be studying poetry, and then we get a little bit of grammar mixed in. This is Michael Clay Thompson's, and no, it's not. Wait, yes, it is, because I bought it off his website. Wait, he might be an affiliate. No, I might be totally confused, because it's Andrew Padua, Padua from the Institute of Excellence in Writing, gave a little shout out to him. I'm pretty sure I bought this off of Fireside, Royal Fireside, Michael Clay. Anyway, we're using it. And that is it. Now remember, this is always subject to change, and I'm cutting things out like the grammar and the spelling. Just so happens this poetry does have some grammar in it, but Right now, we're really just focused on math and writing and the reading, because I haven't been able to homeschool all day, every day, because I've had people in my house making a lot of noise. And some days we couldn't go outside because the air quality was bad. So I was like, okay. So we're playing a little catch up for some subjects, just because some of my kids have online classes that are starting in the spring, and I want them to kind of have some things under their belt. So as I cough and hack my way through this, hey sis, as I cough and hack my way through this, if you have any more questions, you don't have to be afraid of homeschooling high school, although my son's in 8th grade. Actually, I think high school is probably one of the best times to homeschool, because you can really have great conversations with your kids, although you're still, dealing with personalities and hormones and things like that. This is a great time you can really accelerate their learning, where they can get through their high school stuff really fast, especially if you start considering doing dual credit, or enrolling in community colleges, or doing some of those things online. They can get a lot of things done, and they can have more free time to pursue personal interests or build something or work on something. I think at this stage, everyone should have some kind of a business, some kind of business or enterprise that they can work. There are too many teens out here that are making really good money online, or they're coming up with things, with a brick and mortar. But a lot of teens are doing things online, just stuff that they're constantly surrounded with and exposed to. So if you can have your children knock out a year of high school, so like their junior year, they can just focus on things they're interested in, you are so far ahead of the game. And I'm definitely going to have a video on that, because it's really not that hard, y'all, to be able to, you don't have to know quadratic equations and, Oxford commas and when to use them and not to use them and all that kind of stuff. There are a lot of outside resources, some of them even free. Modern States, that's a resource where your child can literally get almost all their high school credits done for next to nothing. As a matter of fact, to do the test, to test out of things, I think the test, you can get a waiver for it. So there's so many things. So I'll definitely have a video on that. But that's my mix of middle school, high school stuff. So homeschool, high school is great. Yes. Also, college prep genius. Oh, Sean, the homeschooling guru. She's out of Texas. She, her kids have been clapping out of so many subjects for a long time. She's a great resource to go to. Erica from my Busy Bees and Me's. She's done a number. I think she's done a couple of those the CLEPs, I think, or she might have done dual credit or dual enrollment. But it really takes a lot of pressure off of them, and they're really going to be working just as hard, whether it's high school or college. So why not just have them do both at the same time? And then you can and then if they decided to go like to public school, they'll have a lot of stuff done. They can just take electives while everybody else is fretting over AP exams or classes and the heavy workload that they have to endure. Your child won't have to do that. So that's a whole another conversation. All right, do you have a video on this year's schedule? I'd love to see how you map it all out. I'm sure you got to be on the loop thingy. Okay, so that's the thing. I did the loop schedule, I'm going to say a year and a half ago. That was because there were so many subjects I wanted to cover. And for those of you who don't know, a loop schedule is different from a block schedule. A loop schedule would be like, say there are 5 subjects you want to cover. And what you do, okay, let's say math. Let's say 3 for the sake of me trying to remember all these subjects. Say math, reading, and science. So Monday, you're doing your math. Okay, you're done. You're doing your reading, whatever I said, and then you're doing your science. No, say there's 4 subjects. So you're doing math, reading, writing, and then science. Well, on Monday, you don't quite get to science. So on Tuesday, instead of starting back with math, you start where you left off, which is science. So think of it like, okay, and every little hill, apex is a subject. So there'll be one subject, 2 subjects, 3. You just the subjects go in order. Reading, writing, math, science. Reading, writing, math, science. If you don't get to one thing, then you stop, and then the next day you pick up where you left off. You don't just go back to, oh, well, let's go back to math. We did page 54 yesterday. Now we're going to do page 55. No, you're going to do science, whatever you didn't get to from the last time. So you can absolutely do a loop and a block schedule. So it just takes a little bit more planning. So yeah. But here's the thing. Like with the logic, I told y'all for my last video, for Spanish, my younger 2, I hadn't really done any Spanish with them because I didn't like the resources that I had. So they're just doing Duolingo. But my oldest one, he's doing Spanish because he's already been doing Spanish. So he can do something else. So he can mix in stuff. So another thing that you can do, 20 minutes. You don't have to do the full hour, 55 minutes. You know, you don't have to do that Carnegie requirement of time. You can just do 20 minutes, like with logic. Just having a discussion. They have a class on Thursdays I take them to, and it's like a 25-minute drive. And we talk about, usually we talk about Shakespeare, so we get a lot of that done in the car. And that's your time. I mean, that's a check. So also, when your kids are having breakfast, lunch, or dinner, you can get your time in there. If you're doing read alouds, if you have a literature-based curriculum, and you have a lot of books to read, like we did with Book Shark, while they're eating, do your read alouds. You can knock that stuff out, or you can have those discussions while they're, having lunch. So you gotta be able to get in where you fit in and just break out of the mold that you have to be sitting down learning together, okay? As a matter of fact, if you exercise and do history, go outside with your kids, go power walk around the neighborhood and talk about what you've been reading, or you can talk about, you can give, if you're doing reading, you can give them, throw some reading comprehension questions at them while you're power walking, okay? So for your reading, if you're doing novel unit studies, or if you just have a book that you guys are reading as you're walking, you guys talk about that. They don't have to have everything written down. Now, if you're in a state where you need to show evidence of work, well, don't show evidence of work for that. You can always do more, but you can always just have them do something else. But that's still one day where you can get that check completed, and don't feel bad about that, okay? So just don't think that everything has to be written down and everything has to be 55 minutes to be considered done and successful. Absolutely not true. All right. Dual credit can save thousands of dollars. You better believe it. And not only that, if you're very proactive and you start getting into the testing cycle, like your National Merit Scholar qualifying test, I tell everyone I know, take that. I don't care how, you can get a 1 on it. And I don't even think you can get a 1. But if you take it before high school, that really helps you out. And then you can take it again. But there are so many ways to not have to pay for college. There are lots of ways. Now, if you're gunning for the Ivy Leagues or the public Ivies like MIT or Stanford or Caltech, a lot of them don't take CLEP, or if they give you credit, it's going to be an elective. Well, you know what? What you do, you knock out all your high school units, and then maybe your last 2 years, you just take your AP at a self-pace, and you just delve into it for those 2 years. So, so like for calculus, you want to do AP Calculus BC. That's a hard class. Give yourself 2 years, a year and a half to take it. The test. Don't worry about the accredited course. It's all about that test. The test. So anyway, that's a whole whole nother animal to skin. So are there no more questions? It is Sunday night football coming up, and my Houston Texans lost tonight and my Rams lost tonight. But let's see, their anxiety is really minimal. Yeah, so if your children are learning online, you can definitely minimalize anxiety from the teacher, from the environment, from other students, a lot of that. But online learning is not for everyone. So if you're new to it, just slide in with something fun and interesting for them, and something short-lived, like maybe a 6-week class or a 1-week class. Outschool.com is a great place to test their chops to see if that's something that they can handle. It's a different kind of platform. There are other places that have, I think, a better platform. But Outschool, they have a lot of fun classes. Some classes might just be 30 minutes. It's one and done, 1 day, 3 weeks, 2 weeks, so many different ones. But they have lots of fun classes, and they also have a lot of academic classes that are like 6 weeks long, a semester long, a year long, all of that stuff. All right. All right, any more questions? Are the answers in the back of the questions or the back of the book? Aaron, so you asked, are the answers in the back for the questions for this one, Algebra 2? Or, let's see, will we have answers in it? Oh, let me see. You're probably, I'm guessing you're talking about Algebra 2. Let me see. Yeah, so the answer key is at the back if you're talking about this. Yeah, if you're talking about that. It has notes, homework, quizzes, and tests. And the answers are at the back. I hope that answered your question. I think that's what you were talking about. Let's see. I have the periodic table tiles right now. Yes, I think they're by mind, right to mind, or mind to something. Yeah, they're pretty cool. So, guys, so just so you know, I know there's a big, push to have manipulatives for kids when they're in elementary school. And then as they get older, the manipulatives kind of fall to the wayside. But if you ever heard of hands-on equations, they use manipulatives to teach algebra. They also have manipulatives for fractions. Also, they're called, oh gosh, someone help me out. They're algebra tiles. Bossy, I want to say they're bossy or bosse tiles. They're usually like blue and red. And so just so I think they work with like the X and the Y's, and child, don't get me the line. But there are those tiles. I have those. My son has used those with his tutor. There are like the periodic table. There are lots of manipulatives for that. There are lots of things for math and science. So don't, shortchange your kid. If they are a very kinesthetic child, they need to touch and to feel and to learn. Google whatever they're learning and then put manipulatives and see what comes up. There's definitely something out there. As a matter of fact, I have another different set of tiles for geometry. Even the geoboard. The geoboard is perfect for geometry, for trigonometry, all that stuff. I did a video on geoboards a couple of videos back. That goes up to, I think you can use it for pre-cal, but definitely geometry, algebra, geometry, and trigonometry for sure. For sure. Oh, I missed a whole bunch of questions, y'all. I was just talking. Let's see. Also great for teaching life skills. Yeah, so dual credit, when you start getting into like middle school and up, like right now on Fridays, I do life skills training with my kids, and we're starting with the basics, like how to put a recipe together. I mean, how to cook a meal. You gotta have at least 5 meals so you don't starve. How do you put those meals together? How do you, when you get money, what's your relationship with money? How are you saving? What are you spending with your money? What's important to you? Are you, how much of a consumer are you? Are you consumed? So all of those questions. I do driver's ed with my kid. My son is 14. Ain't no way in hell I'm putting him out on the street, out here in the streets of LA. So at 15, he'll do his like, real driver's ed class, but he gonna need a whole year of prep time before he goes to driver's ed, before he starts to drive. So on Sundays, we go out to this big parking lot at this performing arts center. And as a matter of fact, there are 2 dads that have their sons out there. And I do the outer perimeter and then they do the inner perimeter. So we don't like get in each other's ways. But yeah, and because it's a large parking lot, all the rectangle parking spaces, there are lanes. So you just pick a lane, and then right now I just have my son, I just tell him, stay in the lane. And then he just drives, we practice. It's just, I got a big old 5,000 ton truck. So it's just practicing, getting used to the brake and all the controls and just building that muscle memory. We might, maybe next month, we might start doing the little right turn. We'll see. But yeah, but that's a life skill. So when you're able to maximize your time with your credits, now I'm talking about your high school kids, then you have time to, on Fridays, to do what your child is interested in, or to work on life skills. Okay. So, and let me tell you, all this remodeling we've been doing in our house, all the math I've seen, but I've also seen the business side of it. And men who barely graduated high school, because I talked to them and they went and just took a couple business classes. They got they're in the union for like, carpentry or whatever it is, HVAC, I don't know. And they're buying houses that lawyers and doctors over here have because they have businesses. And they're in the trades. So people want to poo-poo the trades, but the trades, it's a lot of very well-off people around here who were tradesmen in the beginning. They became businessmen. Okay. Hey, Bluebell, just found your channel. Thank you for your content. Well, you're very welcome, my dear. I'm having the hardest time signing my daughter up for the PST NMSQ because of COVID. Listen, Erin, you need to, I just got this email yesterday. College Prep Genius, I forget her name. She's got all this blonde curly hair. College Prep Genius, she has, I think, a 4 or 5 part series on testing through COVID. She's got all the tea and what you can do and all that stuff. So go to collegeprepgenius.com and then just, manipulate your way. If you can't find anything, let me know and I'll DM you the emails I've been getting from her. Matter of fact, yeah, she sent quite a bit. So, yeah, it's hard for a lot. It's really hard right now. I know. Okay, okay. They are putting homeschool kids on the back burner in my area. I'm going to have to try a private school. What do you mean? Who's putting homeschool kids on the back burner? You mean the public schools in terms of just offering them certain things, or your state? I'm going to have to try a private school. Okay, tell me some more about that, Erin. What's going on there? Because other people in the chat might be going through that. Yeah, you know what? You start really seeing the discrepancies and how certain groups of people are treated and what certain groups of people have access to. And I'm not just talking about black and white, although that exists. I'm talking about Title IX schools or Title I schools compared to more affluent schools, being able to have learning pods and, just, that's a whole, y'all, we should have another kind of a hot topic. Oh, we were supposed to talk about the 1619 project too. Okay, just remind me, we can have a little live on that. Oh yes, okay, they're not taking care of the homeschoolers for the PSAT seats, because where are most of those tests given? They're given at the high schools. And the high schools, they're going to give, first dibs to public school children. But she talks about that in College Prep Genius, because you don't have to go to the high school. But she was talking, now don't quote me on this because I have to watch that video. I'm behind in the series because I have so much else going on. But she does talk about how if the school in your school district, if they don't offer you a seat, how you can get that reversed or appeal that, or I think there's some kind of document or something that you can send because you're a taxpayer zoned to that school. So you should have priority over out of district kids coming in to take the test. So do the College Prep Genius. I don't know which video she talks about that, but just go through the whole series because yeah, it is some shenanigans going out there. Definitely. Okay. Oh my goodness, we've hit an hour. All right, guys, let's see. Any more questions? Any more comments? That looks like a college text. The which one? The chemistry one? This one here? Is not for the faint of heart. I really I got these because I knew that I want to, well, at the time for my oldest one, it was Caltech, Stanford, or bust. And so I wanted the most sophisticated. I didn't want any little baby kindergarten version stuff. I wanted, you know, the real deal stuff. What I would see at one of these elite college prep schools or boarding schools. So that was my mindset like years ago. It's changed. But for this, it's totally doable. I mainly like this because it tells you what you need bare bones minimum to build a chemistry lab, and then the sky is the limit version. So you get everything in between. And then they really want it looks wordy, but it's very detailed though. So you don't have to do every lab. Just pick maybe one or two in each section or something just to kind of get you wet. And there are also YouTube videos on this too. So there are a lot of people who were like gung-ho crazy about this kind of stuff, and they're very passionate about it. And they will walk you through, they will help you out. So so don't let, you know, the denseness of the text throw you off. Oh, for the video on this year's school schedule, I don't think I finished answering that. So this is what I do, because the main thing I have to really have a schedule for is the history, because I'm cobbling everything together. Honestly, guys, when you're using a text, say like your basic math book or a writing book, it's just whatever you don't finish, you go to it the next day or the next time you're going to be doing that subject. But for my history, I'm constantly pulling resources, and then based on our discussions or what's going on in the world, we go off on rabbit trails, rabbit holes. So I have to kind of be mindful of how far we go off the prairie, because there are still other things that I want us to tackle and to learn. So for the history, that's harder for me to schedule, because really I'm just doing like 4 days at a time, because I know something's going to be different next week. Something's going to be different tomorrow. So, but I do have my framework for it. But what I will do is show you, planning is probably one of the hardest things for people. And I want to show you one of my techniques I use. I forgot who showed this to me. It was some homeschool mom on a YouTube channel. And she started off with index cards. And I use colored index cards, each color aligned to, each kid. So I can see at a glance, what kid I'm working with and what how I can manipulate all the subjects and the days. So I'll do a sit down. Maybe we can do Sunday night planning, and I can show you how I do the planning for the week, and then the long-term planning. Because with the long-term, I know what I want everything to look like in the end. And sometimes it's a lot of juggling to try to get to the end. And that can be frustrating. I'm not going to lie. It can be frustrating. It'll sometimes take you a lot longer to get there. But you know what? It's really not a race. But hold me to that. And I will do like maybe a Sunday night teacher prep, which I should be doing tonight, but it's football. So I'm going to be winging it tomorrow. But yeah, I'll definitely have a video on how I schedule the year. All right, any more questions? That chemistry book was thicker than a Snicker. But listen, it's not, you don't have to do everything in it. You just look through it and decide, okay, look at the table of contents and look. And they tell you all the different kinds of labs. You know, you want to do gas chemistry, you want to do acid basis, do you want to do electrochemistry? Look through here and kind of see what it is. Some of the terms I've never heard of. You've done it before, seen it before, you just didn't know the name for it. And then they have about the average 3 to 4 or sometimes 5 labs per subject. So just maybe do one lab, you know, find maybe your top 5 subjects that you're interested in, and then do a lab for each one. Yeah. So doesn't have to be intimidating. It's just a little bite at a time. Even if you just do one lab, just to kind of get your feet wet, but it's worth it. The book is worth it because it tells you what's essential for a lab. It asks, okay, are you a science lover? Are you a science dabbler? Are you an intro? All of that stuff. And then it directs you to what you need, what's necessary, what's not necessary, what's a wish list, what's a minimal, a must-have. The book alone is worth it just for that. And they're keep in mind that they're thinking you're at a high school level, or if you're younger, you're like really into science, like your parents are chemists or college professors in chemistry. So, but everything else is not intimidating at all. It's just, but just have a background in the periodic table and you'll be okay. Okay, let's see. The chemistry book was the good thing. You are a homeschool ninja. Listen, everyone out here, we all have our own paths. Thank you, though. It's, you know, once you get in, it's a lifestyle. If homeschooling is a lifestyle and you're immersed in it, and you can't help but pick up information and tidbits and anecdotes and all kinds of things along the way to help you out and to help other people out. So I'm just only a few steps ahead of some other people, and other people are a few steps ahead of me. But you know, in the end, we all just want to raise healthy, sane, happy humans. Do they have, hey, Jamila, do they have that science lab book in other subjects? This one or this one? Ugh. Which one? Are you probably talking about this one? Now, this one, yes, they have biology. They have forensic science. They have physics. I have 4 of them. Usually they list all their books. Yeah, the experiments. Yeah, so we have the biology, I want to say biochemistry and forensic science. So we have 4 of them. You know, I don't think, do they have a physics one? Because I don't think I have the physics one. And usually they'll have, like, you know, most books have all their books, but no. The biology one, now look, when you look at the how to get going for biology, that one will give you pause because they really get serious into it. But I noticed when I was on some forums asking about these books, a number of people said those books were indispensable if your child was going to like a health and science high school or a magnet school, because they would be interning, or they would be, you know, maybe taking classes. They would be exposed to this stuff right here in these books, like for biology and chemistry. So definitely if your child has inclination for that, bust that out. So there you go. And then, so that was it. All right. I'm a biochemist. Oh, there you go. Oh, Jamila. Oh my goodness. I was thinking about bringing it in, but I didn't. Maybe I did. There is a manga book on biochemistry. If you go back to I think it's my overall homeschool curriculum picks, I think I showed I showed a manga or graphic novel book on, I think it was for biochemistry, or it might have been another science, but I do have the biochemistry. When you read the reviews on Amazon, almost every other person said, oh my God, this book saved my life for my test. All my tests during like pre-med. Some of them were in college. That book, oh, it's in my son's room because it's a fun book. If y'all want me to go get it, I can. Put a 1 in the chat if you want me to get that book, because they have a whole bunch of topics You would love this book. Yes, they have a physiology one. And I taught general chemistry lab back in college. See? Oh my gosh, yes, I want to get it. You will love that one. I have the cartoon guide. Okay, so yeah, with your background, you probably got everything. I'm definitely getting the biology one. My kids are advanced in biosciences. Yes, because your kids taught me about I forgot the name. Well, the skin is a system. It would be worth the investment. No, you know what? Go on eBay. I think oh man, there are a couple of homeschool Facebook groups, the swaps and sales, and I've seen some of these. I've seen a lot of science stuff. It seems like a lot of parents want to get rid of the science stuff because they don't want to teach it. But check those out before you invest in that. I'll be getting that mantra series. Do you know which one I'm talking about? It's kind of got like the red crossbar at the top, and it's black and white. But you have like young adults going through their like real lives, and you kind of see how the science interplays with that. So, and that reminds me, for the younger kids, if you get the Max Axiom series by Graphic Novels Library or Graphic Library Novels, one or the other, and it's beautiful. It's so colorful, and the hero is a very handsome brother. And just think of Denzel Washington with no hair, and it takes away the hesitation a lot of us have with the vocabulary, just with the words. We stumble over the words, and then with seeing notation, scientific notation, or compounds, molecular compounds, just all of that written out, it just kind of takes the fear out of that. So I think for elementary and middle school, the Max Axiom, AXIOM series is a great bridge to going into the manga series. And then the Cartoon Network, not the Cartoon Network, what was that cartoon one I had? The Cartoon Guide. Now they don't have, unless they have more, they have environment, statistics, physics, and genetics. They should have a biology one. That's kind of basic. Maybe then they have room to put it on there, but I'm gonna look that up. So I am, you know how I am. For me, my approach is literature or story-based teaching. So if I can find the subject in a story form, my kids, you remember the School of Rock? We remember stories and songs. They're some of the best ways to teach and to retain. That's the main thing. How much of it do you retain? And stories and songs, rhymes, those are great ways to retain what you spend all that time teaching. Yes, I remember seeing it. Okay, I got the Max Axioms right now. Yes. I wonder if they have some new ones out. I need to get on the mailing list. I wonder if Graphic Novels Library has a mailing list, like the publishers. My son's name is Max, and he's loving it. Oh, that's him, girl. That's him all day. We love Max Axiom and Science comic series as well. Remind me again about the Science comic series. Is that the little square book? Because I have one. I think it follows the life of an atom. I don't know. We have so many science books. I'm not sure. So maybe I should do a video on science books, because all I know is that back in the day, when I was in 9th grade, I wanted to be an astronomer. I love the planets, the galaxies, the solar systems. I love that so much. My math could not keep up. So I had to drop that class. Once the algebra came in, oh no, I could not handle it. And I was like, I'm never going to have this albatross around my neck for my kids. I said that about math and about science, because those two I felt held me back. And I said I would not let that happen to my kids. That's why I go hard with math and and with science, at least having them exposed to a lot of science. But I got to shore up the writing, even though that's my degree. And I used to edit graduate essays at Columbia. So I don't worry about it. Writing, to me, is easier to kind of shore up writing than it is math, because math, you can't do anything until that foundation is laid out. But with writing, you can kind of skirt some things and, kind of get to it and not have to build on, the very foundations. Like if you don't know really multiplication and division or fractions or decimals, honey, you can't do nothing. Okay. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. There is a sister who put out a series called The Magnificent Makers. It's fairly new. Ooh, breaking news. Is this math, Aaron? The Magnificent Makers. I'm going to check that out. Let me write it down. And then someone said something else. The solar system. Okay, what is the solar system about, Jamila? Is there a book about the solar system that you recommend? Hold on. I know the screen might be shaking. I'm writing The Magnificent Makers. Okay. I wrote magnetic. The Magnificent. Okay, makers. Okay. Helping your kids with writing is totally different than writing yourself. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You can be, and especially also for people who are very good at it, they don't know how to get down to that level of the person who has no clue. But but my experience in seeing people at the highest level of academia struggle with writing, and then helping people write essays. Like two of my friends, I wrote their essays. They both gone to Harvard, Harvard Business. So just seeing how you can, for me, from my experience, you can kind of like turn it around, the writing, a lot faster than math, because math is so systematic and foundational, and writing is so subjective and abstract. So you can kind of play the game better with writing than you can with math, because math is wrong or is right. So, but yeah, it's definitely different when you're teaching it. Okay, let's see. Oh, it's this. Oh, the science comic series. Okay, so I think that sounds familiar, but I'm gonna double check that, because there's a science series, Basher Science. It's kind of okay. I'm not a big fan of it, but it's really colorful and my kids like it. And it's like one of those little 5x7, or I don't know, one of those little small books like that. But it's fun. The kids like it. All right, guys. Any more questions? Science commies, plague, trees, dogs, cats. I think I do have that one. I think I do. I'll double check though. If not, I'll be getting it. I don't need any more books, y'all. Stop giving me book recommendations. I'm trying to be a minimalist homeschooler, and I'm failing miserably right now. All right, so no more questions or comments. I'm going to get out of here and get ready for some football, and then try to plan for the week, because I actually have a week where I don't have any interruptions. That's been really, really annoying. That's been so annoying. And so I kind of feel like we've been on a break, and I have to like get started all over again with the kids. But that's okay. That's what we'll do. But I definitely, I probably should be really doing some real planning instead of watching football. I'll do both. I'll get them both in. So yeah. So, let me know how you guys plan for the week. Do you do Sunday night planning, or is like you just take it day by day? Sometimes I do that because I just know all the material is there, and I'm familiar with some of the curriculum enough to know, because I've taught it a couple of times. I know I'm going to need this for this week because we're covering this. Let me make sure I pull out these tiles, or these manipulatives. And then others are you're just reading, talking, doing discussions, and then they fill out a worksheet or something like that. So I find that the history takes the most planning for me, because I'm putting it all together on the fly, because I keep getting new sources. Oh, this is interesting. Oh, this is interesting. Let me add this in. So, and then my kids have an input. And that's another thing, and I'll wrap up with this. I've leaned more toward, especially in history, I've leaned more toward letting my children direct their learning. And before I was like, okay, we're doing history in this order: ancients to the Middle Ages to the Renaissance, and then the early modern period, and then the modern period, and then we do the cycle. And no, it didn't. From watching my kids learn and just being very interested in everything in life, for us, a linear historical approach doesn't work for us. We like to take what's going on and apply it and make a connection. We like to connect the dots, and sometimes it's messy, like history is. So we can be in the ancients for a couple of weeks, and then something happens in modern day, and then we end up making it tie into something that went back to the 1940s, World War I, or World War II. That actually happened. So I like being able to go off on tangents and explorations, and I find I really get the best out of my kids in terms of them being critical thinkers. So I'm okay with that, although sometimes I cringe and I'm like, I didn't spend 2 hours trying to find this stuff to put together. We gonna use this stuff. So it's a balance, guys. It's a balance. All right, guys, I haven't seen any new comments for a bit, so I'm going to wrap up. I just decided to give up our ancients focus. We are just doing units. So I know, here I am. Okay, see, and that's a realization. That's something good to know for yourself. But make sure you know why you're giving it up. So like, I just decided to give up our ancients focus. Is it because it was too much? Or you can decide which one to focus on, or maybe something came up that your kids are very interested in, or did you see someone else doing something unit based and you thought, you know what, that's probably a great way to tackle that? Because you could do a unit study, if that's what you're talking about. You could do a unit study on ancients. As a matter of fact, excuse me, that's kind of what we're not really, but what I've done in the past, where I would focus a couple of weeks on each. This is what I did with my oldest son when we first started homeschooling. So we would do a couple of weeks on Egypt, and we would do something about the food of that time, the culture. We would make an activity, a craft. We had these like styrofoam bricks. We built like the pyramids. So we did it in a unit form. We brought in, and usually with a unit study, you're bringing in all is cross-curricular. So you're bringing in math, science, and writing. So that was pretty fun for the younger stages. It was easier for me to do. As my kids got older, it was a little bit more work, because there are prepaid lesson plans out there, especially on Teachers Pay Teachers, but it was just too much. I like doing unit studies for science stuff, like specifically based for science, and then bring in reading and writing. If that makes sense. Sometimes you can have a core and then you bring in the other subjects when you're doing unit studies. So I kind of like to have the science part and then bring in like the reading and the writing and some math if I could make it apply. But you know what? Go with that and see where that takes you, and you might discover, hey, we're a unit study family and this works great for us. And then maybe in a semester or a year, you might revisit ancients. Like I said, I did ancients with my oldest son when we first started homeschooling. And instead of taking him into world history with Bookshark, which was the next level, I was like, you know what? I was still trying to figure things out when I was homeschooling. I still had one kid in public school and one kid in preschool. So I felt like, and I know so much more now. So I said, you know what? We're going to start with ancients and go with that. But, I went through lots of different manifestations to get there. So it's all a fun journey. Same. Yeah, so go with that. Just remember, why you did the change, and then when you do the units, think about how this is working. Would you want to do it again? And then you can share that knowledge with the next homeschooler. I like to know how that goes for you. for sure. All right, guys. So I keep saying I'm gonna get out of here, and then somebody post something. My little one is only 5, so I'm still trying to figure it all out. Oh, unit studies are great for that age. Oh my God. I think my very, very first unit study was on dinosaurs. Man, I went to the dollar store. I got every kind of dinosaur. I went to the library, got every little book on dinosaurs. So I took my child, told him to go crazy. We did little cutouts. We watched videos. There's an old school dinosaur song. It's on a record. Oh, I forget, but and it's so old. They talk about the Brontosaurus, which is no longer the name. But we got in, and that's a fun age. The 5s, the early elementary kids. That's a really fun age. Yeah, definitely try. There is a book. There are 2 books I have on unit studies. One is called Getting Started with Unit Studies, and one, it's a yellow book, and it's called Homeschool. I want to say Homeschool Science Unit Studies, but it might just be Homeschool Unit Studies. If you guys leave a comment, I read my comments later on in the morning, and I respond to them. If you leave a comment, I'll be sure to go grab that. That's why I got excited with doing unit studies, because we would spend like a month on it, and we would just go deep in it, and it was really easy. Writing wasn't that intense at that stage, and it was fun. So let me know if you want some suggestions for unit studies. There are so many moms out there that have on their YouTube channel. Boy Boss Mom. She was on Erica's IG. She did an interview with Erica a couple of weeks back. Boy Boss Mama. And she's been doing unit studies for a bit, but hers looked really interesting. So I would check her out. And there's another homeschooler. I think that's all they do. She has a beautiful one on Africa. I have to remember. Just type in unit studies. You'll get something. All right. You're sorry. No, don't be sorry. I don't know what you're sorry for, but no, don't be sorry. Not around here. We're all family. All right. Thank you, Aaron. The interview. Oh, I always forget how to say it, and I spent so long trying to say this, and I heard it. I was listening to those of you in the conscious community. Mama Pill, she worked with Dr. Sadie and her sons, the twins, Red Pill and Blue Pill. Well, they have a younger brother. His name is KT, the Arts Degree, and he's really into science and health. And a couple of weeks ago, he was doing a video, and he actually said this: integumentary. I think that's how he said it, integumentary. And he said it a number of times. I'm like, oh, Aaron, that's it. I was really struggling how to say it. So no, but he talked about the integumentary system and how the quantum self, the subatomic, the underworld of Osiris or Asar was inside at the subatomic level. He went really, really deep into that. So so for any of my nerdy moms who are kind of like into like quantum theory or string theory, or maybe you've read The Holographic Universe by Michael Talbot. Is Michael his first name? I think Michael Talbot. Talbot. That's a whole world to get into. If you're into that, let me know, because I would love to like get together with other parents, because my son, my oldest one, he's into that. So that's why we're trying to go hard with science. I'm going to have to watch that. Which one? Oh, the one with KT, the Arts Degree. Yes, it's it might have been 2 weeks back or maybe 3 weeks back. I don't know if it was on his channel or if he was on Black Magic 363, Brother Rich. It's worth it just to look at whatever he's done within the past month. He talked about it. And then the one about the subatomic level and that association of the quantum world. It was really what the Egyptians were saying, the underworld, was really the under dimension, and that under dimension was actually was you. It's crazy. They're talking about being like a protein molecule surfing along DNA strands. Oh my gosh, it was really wonderful. So check that out if you guys are into that. Mama Pill, Jamila, you know about Mama Pill? All right. I love her sons. I love her sons. I met two of them when I used to live in New York, back on 102 Fifth, when I used to go to the Oberium Dempsey Center, which is not on 125th. It was kind of around the corner. But during my lecture days, I would go to all the lecture circuits up in Harlem. And yeah, that was the time back in the late 90s, early 2000s. Okay, now I do. Haha. Yeah. Mama Pill doesn't have a YouTube channel, but she worked side by side with Dr. Sebi in the islands, and she knows all his recipes, all his potions, concoctions, extractions, all of that stuff. And Katie, the arts degree, really has taken the science and meshed it with the art. And the brother is very brilliant. He's just brilliant. All right. So no more questions or comments. I'm going to get out of here and try to do some prepping before Sunday Night Football comes on. And I need I need to up my oil of oregano. I'm up to 4 drops, y'all. Should I double it? I know you're not supposed to give medical advice, but I was feeling fine the last 2 days, but I stopped taking it. That was my problem. When you start feeling better, you got to still continue to take the stuff because your body still needs your help. So no more questions. I am out of here. Thank you guys. An hour and a half. Lord have mercy. Okay, guys, I'd be lying. I think I'm gonna get in and out, and I really think I am. But so next time, let's do some Sunday lives. Bring some snacks, some drinks. I'm gonna order like a document camera, or maybe get another webcam so I can easily show you guys, you know, the books and the pages and things like that, or I can write something down for you guys so it's easier for you guys. And then you know, I can do my planning. You guys can show me what you're working on, and we can give input on, you know, hey, have you considered this? Or I might be doing too much this week, or, you know, you want to add some stuff, or, you know, oh, I'm about to have a baby. Then girl, you need to take this off, and this off, and get your little arsenal of tricks together to get you through, you know, the first couple of weeks once the baby's home, just that kind of stuff. So yeah, we should really do that because, you know, zinc and fresh pineapple. Look, I got my zinc and elderberry lozenges, and I have some vitamin C lozenges, but I do need fresh pineapple, and I have fresh pineapple downstairs. I'm going to go ahead and slice it up. And that bromine, yes, I need that bromine in me. All right. Hey, Bluebell. All right. So you have a great evening as well. Jamila, Aaron, I know where I am, and all the others. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. And I will see you on the next live. I'll be, I do post on my community tab. I posted something the other day about not being able to go live yesterday because I was having internet problems, but now I had no problems today. So that's great. So I'm going to be posting more regularly now that my house is kind of back to normal. So be on the lookout for that. And as always, if you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. And don't forget, this is the live, so I don't have it in the description box. But if you want your free daily checklist plan, you can always go to my homepage on my YouTube channel and download it. Or if you check about an hour or two after I do a live, I'll put the description down. I do it immediately, but I don't think YouTube populates it for like an hour or two. So do that to help you get going with planning for your week. Okay, it's not rocket science. You know, just write it down, or do a journal style where you don't write it down, and then whatever you do that day, at the end of the day, you go write it down. That's called journal style. Okay, and I do that as well. All right, guys, I am out of here. I will see you guys on the next live. I may or may not go live tomorrow, depending on how I feel. My head's actually starting to feel a little big. So we'll see. All right, guys. I love you, and I will see you on the next share. Okay, bye-bye.